5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Please do not change channel.
From Krypton Radio, brought to you by Famous Faces and Funnies and Off the Chain with Yvonne Mason. It's the Hangin' with Web Show Radio Hour, the Internet's premier pop culture talk radio show. You're tuned in, you're logged on, and now, your host, award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomichter. Who are you hanging with?
Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome to the Hangin' with Web Show live here on Facebook. We are in the studio today. It's a great Saturday. We've had an awesome week. We'll fill you in on all the great things that have happened in the last week here a little later on in the show. But what's really cool is we want to do something a little bit new. We want to start about every Saturday. So, guys, mark your calendars. About every Saturday, we want to start going live here from the Facebook page with either a special interview from the studio or a special artist or whatever when we're not traveling, when we're not on the floor of a convention or a conference somewhere. And then when we are, we're going to do it anyway. So around Saturdays noon, we're going to come live from wherever we are. In fact, next weekend, we're going to go live from Dragon Con in Atlanta as we wander the floor and run into some great Hangin' with Web Show alums that are going to be there. So we're going to be doing this a little bit more often. We're in the studio today, and it's cool because we get to hang out with a brand new friend, a brand new creator, a brand new member of the Hangin' with Web Show family. We're going to hang out with Daniel Taylor. On Facebook, you can find him, KingDaniel Taylor. That tells you he set the bar high. He set the bar really high. So find him on Facebook, guys. KingDaniel Taylor is the creator of JarHead, which is a comic series. Issue 1 I know is out there. He's been working hard on other issues. And he has got his own comic company at Breaking Chains Comics. You can find that on Facebook also. You know what? All of those links are in the tags in the description of this video. So you can link over there whenever you want to, like those pages, say hi. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our Facebook Live family, KingDaniel Taylor. Daniel, how are you, man?
Doing awesome. I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Awesome. We're doing, man, it's great to have you on the show today. So, guys, Daniel Taylor is the creator of a comic called JarHead. And we're going to talk to him a little bit about that. Real quick, though, we want to remind everybody you're watching the Hangin' with Web Show. If you didn't know that already, then thanks for coming by and accidentally stumbling on us. We love it when that happens. Want to say hi to some folks in the chat. Want to say hi to our really good friends. Terry McIver's here and Brian Wensloff is here. Thank you guys so much for coming in and joining the chat. We will be trying to keep up with you guys as we go. So Daniel, let's talk about Breaking Chains, your comic company here a little bit. How did you get started in the comic business? And is Breaking Chains your first foray, or did you do stuff before? Talk to us a little bit about your journey and where it started.
Well, basically, Breaking Chains Comics is my first actual company as an artist and as a writer, as a businessman. I'm a writer now, but long ago I was an artist.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
we caught some of your art on your Facebook page, man. That's some incredible stuff. Just the freehand stuff that you're doing, you know. And you, and if I understand this correctly, you and I talked a little off camera. You design your characters kind of before they go to the artists.
Right.
Me and
my if somebody does like a pinup for me, I give them like the details of what I want the character to look like.
Awesome.
And basically, when I come up with characters, it's like have you ever like seen something like a generator? It's like a generating stuff daily, like a printer or something like that. It's generating nonstop, and that's how I have a character generator in my head and then generating characters nonstop.
Just keep going at it. And okay, so where did the idea for JarHead first come from?
Well, it came from a spiritual divine intervention, you know, but also
all right, those are the best ideas. The best ideas come to you in epiphany.
Yeah. It's an amazing thought because I've actually had dreams and visions about this stuff, and I've actually also the reason why I'm really doing this is for God Almighty, yes sir, and also my actual family. Some of my family were in the military, and just also the soldiers and troops over there, and that's fighting for us also, and just basically just for just winning, and seeing everybody putting a smile on people's faces. That's where it really comes from.
That's really what it's all about. We're at the end of the day, we are the creative community. We are the sons and daughters of P.T. Barnum. We are there to entertain people and to highlight, the truth about the human condition in a way that inspires folks. The motto of the show has always been create, aspire to great things, and inspire others. And it really sounds like that's what motivates you on your journey. So, JarHead specifically, let's talk about your hero. We have a picture here of your main character, and it's one of your covers, I think. And so,
actually, yeah, this is actually the first ever cover of JarHead. I'm actually working on getting some laminated gold covers.
Oh, wow.
So basically, go for limited edition JarHead covers. So when it comes out next month, and when I actually when I launch it, I will be giving away those gold covers to whoever picks it up first.
Fantastic, man. That is awesome. Limited edition covers coming out, guys. Oh yeah, okay. Terry says, "Hey, man," and he's in the chat. So, we're here, guys. We're talking to Daniel Taylor, KingDaniel Taylor on Facebook. Look him up and check out, of course, Breaking Chains Comics. You got to see some of this artwork, man. Let's go back. Let's take a look at that lead character. Not the cover, Sage. Let's go ahead and take a look at the character here. This is your guy. Tell us about this guy. Tell us about this guy, man.
Well, JarHead, basically, he's a mild-mannered, brute character.
A mild-mannered brute character.
Yeah, like he's I built him off of notice now I look at characters from Marvel and DC, and I took like the attitudes and and I look at their way they act. Wolverine's attitude, Punisher's demeanor.
Yeah.
I added that too, and that's where I got JarHead.
This guy's ripped, man. This guy, I mean, and you do the concept art for this, and then you hand it off to your artist. Now, who are your artists that are working with you?
Leo Gundam. He's the leading artist of the pages that we do.
Okay.
And the script writer is Bill McCormick.
Awesome.
And the leading colorist is Brian Artfeld.
Awesome,
and
man.
The cover artist is my main man, Jake Goodman.
Awesome. That is fantastic. You got a great team that you've put together here with your idea. How did you find these guys? Did you find them online? Did you find them in, friends of yours in the neighborhood? How did you find these guys? How did you bring these guys together?
Well, it was online, and just like I said, it's a divine thoughts and divine direction.
No, it's great. Online we're able to find such an amazing creative community today in a way that was never possible before. Sometimes you would run into a guy and hand out business cards and they'd call, or maybe they wouldn't, or whatever. But today it's real time. Like you and I met a week ago online, and we've been able to put this together and talk about your art. And it's just a great community to be a part of. Terry McIver says, Zangief gone rogue. he was looking at the picture of the of your main guy. What's his name? What's your character's name?
Actually, his name is Jake Cranium.
Jake? Do that.
Cranium.
Jake Cranium.
No, Jake.
Okay, Jake Cranium. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's Jake Cranium, which is a head thing, and this guy is all muscles and everything else. So every good hero, though, is only as good as their big bad.
Yes,
so
sir. Yes, sir.
Who is Jake's nemesis, man? Who is Jake's big bad?
Well, Demented Deuce.
Demented Deuce. I think we have some
Yes.
line art for Demented Deuce here. There he is. And tell us about this guy. What's this guy's story? What's his deal, man?
His story, his deal, man. He is a vile extremist. He is a disrespectful, evil SOB.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this came from the dark side, man. He was one of those guys where it took me it was actually, I had fun doing this character because like I put some of my best work with him. Like I look at movies and I look at all the villains, all the villains. Like I say, hold on, who's one of the villains? I looked at Spawn. You see the big fat guy.
Yep.
What's his name? The Dominator, or I forget because I love Spawn so much. The Dominator, and I looked at him, and it's like you grab a lot of characters, and I grab a lot of personality traits, and I just added and basically came up with Demented Deuce. Actually, Demented Deuce is actually one of those characters that is very different. You know, he's very unique, and this character, he is a human/reptilian.
Yeah,
You know
I'm digging the facial features here. Can we see that art again? I'm digging the facial features here. He's got this humanoid build, but he's got this real super half reptilian face happening. I mean, super detailed. This is your artist, right? This picture here, is this your line art?
This is actually this is the inks and lines is done from Leo Gundam.
Leo Gundam, man. Oh, man, Leo hit it out of the park with this guy, man. He just this is menacing in every way, and there's no color here yet, which is just astounding to me, because a lot of times a lot of that comes through in the color art, but this is just the inking, and this character is badass. And I mean, he's just all around bad guy. He's double swords. He's got the Uzi in his hand over there. Like he needs that because he looks like he could bite your head off anyway. So, yeah. So, okay. So he's going up against, the great Jake, the Jarhead, character. All right. Our friend Brian Winslow, said he's feeling the whole Cobra Commander feel from your bad guy, man. That is awesome.
Like I said, I look at
the Violator. By the way, Brian reminds us that the clown in Spawn is called the Violator.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I was inspired. I used a reference from Vega from Street Fighter.
Oh yeah, nice.
And I thought about like the mask where he takes the mask off, and I thought about it like, why don't I just give him a half mask and go with that, and then have like a reptilian type of vibe to him, and give them the tattoos on the scales on the arm.
That is always a scary image, because we're as mammals, we're hardwired. It's in our brains. We're hardwired to be afraid of reptiles.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we're part of their diet, so we're hardwired to be afraid of that. And so when you take a character and that's a humanoid character and give him reptilian features, it just always pops out, and it scares the hell out of people. And it's the perfect villain. because for some reason that image, that reptilian image, is just something that it makes us see bad guys. I mean, if this guy could be a good guy, and we would still think of him as a bad guy because he's got those features. And we're, as human beings, we're just hardwired to just say, hey, no, to hell with that. I don't want anything to do with no reptilian dude. And so that is awesome.
Actually, yeah, Dimension Deuce actually is JarHead's uncle.
His uncle. Got some family problems, this guy.
Yeah,
his uncle. Walk us through kind of the book synopsis of the first issue that's out there right now. The first issue, what is the origin story for these characters?
Well, the first issue is basically based, you learn JarHead's humanistic side. And the humanistic side is, his defaults, his fears, is what he goes through on a daily basis. And, the first panel you'll see in a scene where he finds out that he is dead, but the guy JarHead is like, what? How? And it's like, it's going to blow your mind when you see it. I can't give you too much because, we want the people to be in suspense,
we want you to go and buy this comic, guys. We've talked to a lot of indie comics, creators here on the show. Big shout out to our great indie comic community, and our great friends over at ICC, the Independent Comics Creators Group, our great friend, Travis Gibb, for, Broke Down and 2 dead bodies, now 4 dead bodies. More dead bodies. That's it. Broke Down and More Dead Bodies. That's what we did. It's a whole series. And then our great friend, also Rob Anderson, who's out there. We love to support our independent comics community, and what you're building here is a fantastic universe, man. So we want them to buy the comic. At the same time, we want to give them a little bit about the characters and see what's going on. Oh, wow. Brian Wenslaw says, I'm sold. Where can I get a copy? So you know what? Go ahead, Sage, go ahead and drop that lower thirds. Drop a lower thirds in there to show Brian where he can go to follow our man here, KingDaniel at Breaking Chains Comics. That's Facebook.com/ what do you got there? Chains 19? Is that what it says? Chains 19.
Yeah, Chains 19.
Awesome, man. Check out Breaking Chains Comics and get a copy of JarHead. Now, how many issues are out right now? You got 1 issue out right now, right?
Actually, 1 issue is in production. This is the first book.
Awesome.
And we are basically, what we're going to be doing is, I actually have an online store. When the book comes out, I'll be sending a link. I'll send a link to you, Garrett, and
awesome.
You can just
we will get it out there online, man. We love that. Hi, Tiffany. Good to see you. Tiffany Pipes in the house here in the room. Awesome. Yeah, Tiffany said great artwork, man. So, thanks for joining the chat, Tiffany. We're glad that you're here. We're glad that y'all are here. We got a couple of people here that are in the live broadcast. Again, we're going to try to do this about every Saturday around 12 o'clock. No matter where we are. If we're here in the studio, we'll do it here. We'll do some great interviews, some more in-depth coverage of our artists and our comic creators. If we are out on the fly, we'll do walkthroughs at comic events and conventions and conferences, etc. We are talking JarHead here on the Hanging with Web show. We're hanging out with Daniel Taylor, KingDaniel Taylor on Facebook, guys. You can search that. KingDaniel all mushed together, all one word, because he's got high hopes. KingDaniel knows. That's right. He set the bar really high. When you proclaim yourself the king on Facebook, you have got to make it work. You got no choice. Yes, you've got to deliver, brother. So, so you're going to have a website open up for that. You guys can go and follow Breaking Chains on Facebook right now. You chose a great motif for your artwork. Your characters are, based around Jake, who is, JarHead, the character JarHead. And that's the name of your comic, JarHead. Everybody I think out there on the Hanging with Web show knows JarHead is a colloquial term that usually refers to a Marine. And I know I am the proud father of a U.S. Marine. And so tell us a little bit about that. What inspired you to grab onto that vernacular and work with kind of a militaristic character? You have family connections or what is your military connection?
Well, family. My dad was a Marine. He was actually a mortarman. And you know what a mortarman is, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I'm an infantryman,
yeah.
so I'm an infantryman. So a good infantryman wants to make sure that his mortarmen are always good and they're on target because they clear the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad, he was actually a mortarman, and my uncle, I don't know yet which one he was, but I know he's an actual Marine vet, and I actually I was inspired to do it because of them also, and because of the guys in the I have actually a lot of other Marine friends, and I have Navy guys as friends. I have Army friends. I have a lot of military guys as friends. And I actually just
it's great. It is in the vein. What you've got here is kind of Brian says it's kind of like a nice '90s art feel. The images have been nice, and that harkens back to even before that. Your guys had this kind of G.I. Joe feel, which was a great homage, to our service members back in the day, and then of course spun off into all these massive properties that they had today. But it's a great thing to do. We have here it looks like a battle sequence between our hero and our villain here. So I'm going to show you this piece. It's up on the screen there. You want to talk a little bit about this piece and what you're doing here, what kind of story you're telling here, other than just really freaking cool image.
Well, I'm telling a story where the Introduce just fired a shot and JarHead just jumped and hit him with his own sword. And
I love
basically. Go ahead.
No, I love the imagery here. Because and I know about this. We're going to talk about it on camera a little bit. We talked about it off camera a little bit, but Jake's not an ordinary Marine. Jake's got some supernatural things happening. Let's talk about that a little bit, and then we'll break this image down and talk about the imagery that's in it. So, tell us about Jake's, his story in terms of he's not just an ordinary Marine.
No. His origin comes from the angelic host. He is actually a angel/human.
Okay.
And the Nephilim.
That's right. The Nephilim in the Hebrew tradition, it was the Nephilim were the sons of the angels and their human wives. They were the offspring of the angels. They're the Nephilim.
Sure. So. Yeah. And where I got the origin from was like a divine intervention, and it was basically something that I always thought about doing, and I put it in. I had a thought to just put it in the book and make him unique, different from everybody else. You want to be in this business, in this industry, you want to be different from everybody else. You don't want to do something that everybody's doing. And I get the notion that, when how like when you do something and you hear somebody say, "Oh, somebody long ago has done that already and they failed." And I said, I thought about that and I said, man, I want to do something different. I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to stand out from the crowd.
We have a couple of questions here. Terry MacGyver wants to know where your story takes place.
It takes place in Oakland, California.
In Oakland?
Yeah.
All right. When? What is your time period?
When?
Yeah.
19. Oh man, y'all got me going.
That's it, man. These guys, they want to know stuff.
Yeah. It's
a contemporary environment. It's like the 1990s, late 20th century kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of like 2000s, kind of like 1999.
Yeah, turn of the century. Yeah, awesome. And Brian Wensloff is asking online. Brian wants to know about your inspirations, comic artists and people who inspired you. He asked specifically if you were inspired by the work of guys like Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld. But what are your favorite comic artists and what inspire, who are the guys that inspire you?
I'm going to say, Todd McFarlane. He's one of my favorite. Joe Medora. I'm going to say Ben Lashley, if that's his name. I think I butchered his name, but sorry about that.
Brian keeps track of all these guys, so he'll be able to put some names and spellings down there. If Brian, go ahead and throw these names in the feed there as Daniel throws them out. So
and Brian Layfield, he was a good guy,
Rob Layfield,
good one that I thought about. And Jim Lee was one of the most awesomest creators I saw, and I was like, man, I gotta do something similar, but something different from what they're doing. I plan on this thing being the biggest thing you can think of.
And that's what you have to do, guys. You just manifest it, make it happen, right? You have to go for it. Now, writers are readers. Comic enthusiasts often go on to become comic creators. So we want to ask you, growing up, favorite comic characters. Who were the ones that they spoke to you when you were coming up reading comics?
Man, I had a lot of Wolverine type of stuff. I had Venom, Punisher, Spawn. Oh man, I love all the villains, most of them. I love Cyclops, Batman, Deathstroke. I can go for days, man.
It's good. I love it because you do have that great. All the characters that you mentioned, or most of the characters that you mentioned, have a very anti-hero vibe to them. They're all sort of fringe heroes, accidental heroes, anti-heroes. So I mean, you obviously have your over the top, heroic heroes. You've got your Captain Americas and your Superman and your Iron Man, and these guys are the definition of virtue. They are the best in all of us. And they go up against some of the worst villains, man, some just diabolical villains. But the anti-heroes are always great, interesting characters because they're us. They don't necessarily, they don't set out to be heroic. In many cases, they set out to be anything but heroic. They just sort of end up, to kind of drive this home and back to Jarhead and his origins, they end up on the side of the angels. It's not where they started going. It's not where they wanted to be, but they end up on the side of the angels in the end, because of the nature of their journey. And so anti-heroes are always more interesting to us because none of us have these great aspirations of being, dun, 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 we're, superheroes. And yet circumstances often dictate where you end up or where you're going in life. Ken Lashley, one of Brian's favorites, he wants you to know, was one of the ones that you mentioned in your list. And that is fantastic. So, guys, for those of you just tuning in, we are the Hangin' With Web Show live. I'm GW Pomichter. We are in the studio this weekend. We are kind of launching some new stuff. If you saw last Saturday, we were down on location at the Foxwood Wine Company. We had the great artist Josh Bauer from J. Bauer Art was with us at Foxwood Wine doing a live painting behind us while we aired what was going on down there. And we've tried to do at convention floors or whatever. We've done some walkthroughs early in the morning. But we wanted to use Facebook Live for a little bit more interactive content. So, we're launching, the Hangin' With Web Show Live, which will go noon on Saturdays. Our inaugural interview guest is here with us, Daniel Taylor, KingDaniel Taylor on Facebook, guys. Look him up at Breaking Chains Comics, and that is facebook.com/chains19. And so you could check him out there.
At Xavier'sManifestThyWill.com. Do you crave solutions to your everyday problems? Get rich, find love, and become happy. Xavier, master of the dark arts, may have the powers you need to prevail. Don't give up because other spellcasters have failed you. At Xavier's ManifestThyWill.com, life does not have to be as hard as you see it. Xavier, an astrologist and psychic, carries out rituals and casts spells conscientiously, and he has the power to prevail in situations deemed impossible by other spellcasters. At ManifestThyWill.com, see for yourself the difference real magic can make. Go to ManifestThyWill.com today.
Alien invaders enslave Earth.
Unleashing hunters into the ruin wastes.
One young survivor struggles to elude their monsters, clinging to hope.
When he's stolen off the planet by a sarcastic starship AI, they pit their uneasy alliance against a treacherous galaxy.
Explore a whole new verse of barbarism and betrayal.
Wonder and adventure.
In the Scion series.
By Michael J. Allen.
Beginning with Book 1, Scion Conquered Earth.
Available in print, ebook, and audio on Amazon.com. The Planetary Alliance has fallen, replaced by the conglomerate.
Governed by the universe's most powerful corporation.
One planet stands alone, Earth. Captain Reginald Epsilon and his ship, the Stingray.
A new prototype warship that took a decade of research and development refused to recognize his new commander.
And he disappeared in the blink of an eye.
An all-out
manhunt for Epsilon and the Stingray was on. The ruthless Admiral Roth uses Epsilon's executive officer, the stunning Lieutenant Jesse Smythe.
And her little sister Maggie has pawned in his brutal game of cat and mouse.
Can Epsilon save Maggie?
And prevent the most powerful warship in the universe from falling into corrupt hands?
Hands hell-bent on destroying Earth? Find out in Stingray You Can't Hide Forever.
On Amazon.com.
Joanne Fisher's The Spanish Doll. Secrets in Italy? Oh yes. Her beauty strikes him like a thunderbolt sent by the goddess Venus. When Fiore is given a peculiar gift, a Spanish doll, she is thrown into a whirlwind of entangled passion, money, secrets, and love. Get swept away today by Hangin' with Web Show featured author Joanne Fisher's The Spanish Doll. Available now on Amazon.com.
Now on Amazon.com, ICoin from author Jeremy Mosby. It's an alternate reality, and the leader of the planet ICoin is none other than Benjamin Franklin. When corrupt officials threaten not only ICoin but the Earth as well, an unlikely chosen one, Jeremy, must face dark foes to save the Earth and ICoin alike. Author Jeremy Mosby takes readers on a superhero's adventure through this compelling and imaginative alternate universe. Get ICoin on Amazon.com today.
We started the hour here with Daniel Taylor talking about Breaking Chains Comics and the title, which is JarHeads, and his main character, Jake, and his main antagonist, who is, let's get that name again, Daniel. What's the main antagonist?
Demented Deuce.
Demented Deuce, who is part humanoid, part reptilian. And, of course, Jake is of the heroic vein of Nephilim. He is a half angel, half human. Now was Jake recruited with his angelic abilities after death, or was Jake born this way? How does Jake become Jarhead? Because 13 weeks at Paris Island will do a lot of things for you, but it won't make you this guy. This guy is, yeah.
He actually was born that way, but he did not know he was an angel.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You know, he did not know he was any supernatural. He just knew that there was a God, and he knew that there was something supernatural done to him, but he didn't know that he was chosen like that to be that kind of person or deity.
Yeah.
You know?
Brian Wensloff sent us another question. He wants to know, so he wanted to say, U.S. Agent John Walker is definitely an anti-hero. Do you have a character like that in your Jarhead universe?
We are actually bringing in new characters as we go along in the story, and whatever comes to mind, and you gave me more ideas to do more stuff because.
So you were talking earlier, you're generating characters all the time. A lot of your own sketch work and things are concepts that you're going to hand off to the artist later on. What kind of big characters do you have coming up the road that we can look forward to?
Actually, one of the characters is the next series that I'm doing is called Smoke.
Smoke. Okay. And that is inspired by?
Inspired by basically family, you know.
Awesome. We have a great friend from the convention circuit, a cosplayer that goes by the name The Smoke.
Yes.
Eric Moran, cosplayer Eric Moran, and we met him at Space Coast Comic Con a few years ago. Amazing. Hangs out with our little guy cosplay Michael on the convention circuit. And it's a great name. What kind of character are you? Is he going to be a heroic character, an anti-hero? Is he a villain? What kind of character is Smoke?
He's basically going to be an anti-hero.
Okay.
Somebody that deals with what we go through today as a African American genre, you know.
Awesome, man.
He's basically going to be he's basically kind of choked up a little bit.
It's okay. It's good. We're all, hey, we're just hanging out. We're on Facebook. There's only 14,000 of our closest friends here. It's all good.
I understand. Hey,
that's
I'm
it,
not
man.
nervous.
That's
I'm just having fun. Well, you know, it's actually
Maya, thanks for coming in. Maya, thanks for coming in the chat room. Maya May is here. Yes, this is amazing. Thank you so much. We're glad that you're here watching the show with us. We're hanging out with KingDaniel Taylor. Daniel Taylor, the creator of JarHeads, over at Breaking Chains Comics. We're talking about new characters coming up down the road, and we were just talking about Smoke. You know, you brought something interesting up, and let's just kind of touch on that a little bit. As a creative artist on your journey in these days, tell us a little bit about your journey as an African American in comics and as a creator.
Well, let's just say it's different, you know.
Mm-hmm.
For me as an African American, I actually have fun. I actually get along with everybody.
Well, you gotta love that when you get a good set of comic geeks together. The things that are out there in the real world just seem to disappear because
right.
Here in the land of creativity, in this great cacophony of creative voices that we live in as creators, it's not about brown or white or yellow, green. It doesn't matter, because when we draw it, it's going to be all kinds of messed up anyway. We're going to make it half reptilian. It's going to be green. It's going to be orange. So all the BS that the real world deals with every day, we kind of get to say, yeah, nah, enough of that.
Right.
And I just wanted to know how much of that everyday life spilled into your creativity and how much of that inspires you to tell the stories that you tell.
Well, I just live life and I pick up these stories. These are actually all the stories that I do are all real stories. All of them are cut from my life and cut from family lives and cut from what I see on a daily basis. If I walk outside and I see, say like if somebody's fighting, you know, or somebody's dealing with something or something like that. Yeah, I get an idea or something like that, and I just pick it up and I'm like, okay, how can I take away from that? How can I build on that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is.
How can I bring that to life?
One of the things we try to talk about with a lot of our creative artists on the air is the creators struggle with sharing with people in an entertaining and in a fun environment, a human truth, something about the human condition. And ladies and gentlemen on Facebook Live, wherever you are right now, the struggles between good and evil, the struggles between the heroes and the villains, the anti-heroes and the evil out beyond the firelight is real. It takes place inside every heart and every mind every day. And when you're able to manifest that as an artist, it's a true gift. Again, we know you do a lot of your concept art. We had the art up. We'll put that up again here. The struggle between that those primal forces. And when you were talking about your characters and especially Jake's origin, it's an interesting thing that you chose in this piece that we're looking at. This really is, if you look at this really carefully, the imagery here, this is kind of a recreation, it looks like, from some of the early Renaissance art depicting the fall of evil and the fall of man, with Michael, sort of the archangel, standing over and beating down and beating evil down out of existence. And the imagery that you've used here, where Jarhead is kind of up over top of his nemesis, and you know, the nemesis is firing off, and there's a great battle. There's a lot of color and things happening here, but you have him up over top, overcoming, literally, that in that struggle. Was that intentional? Was that something that you knew you were doing? Is it just something, that an image that stuck with you in your head that you just wanted to get out on paper?
Well, when I was working with the artist, this was actually a different artist that I collaborated with.
Okay.
His name is Shinedu Campbell. He's a cool guy, awesome guy. He's from Africa and Nigeria, might I add. He's an awesome guy. All the guys that I work with, they are awesome guys. I have no problem whatsoever. Basically, what I thought about the scene, I wanted something dynamic, something that speaks to people, something that pulls people in, that brings people to the thinking of, man, I wonder what's next, what's coming after this, you know what I'm saying? And it pulls people in to want to know more about Jarhead and want to know more about the villain. And although the villain is bad, but if you're going to have a good hero, you got to have somebody to compete with them, somebody to.
Yeah. And the best villains, we find the best villains often have the noblest intentions. Some of our best villains come from a place where they do evil deeds they don't realize are evil. Is your villain one of those guys, or is it a little more two-dimensional, a little more black hat, white hat scenario? What kind of villain do you gravitate towards? Are they guys that were like, you know, a big example that I know the pop culture world knows about now, everybody in the world knows about it now, $2 billion worth of everybody. We had in the iteration of Marvel's cinematic universe's Endgame and Infinity Stones, we had a villain who was driven to do what he thought was best for people, and he was going to commit genocide. It was obviously a pretty evil act, but his motivations were to save people. Are you drawn to those kinds of villains, or do you like villains who are just a little more,
I like it different. I like it in between.
Okay.
What I mean by that is Venom, he has he want to do good, but he's like you know what I mean? You can see it. He's got followed go ahead.
Venom is a good example of a character who's split in two because he's two consciousness. He's Venom in that he's the symbiote, and he is also the human, and that conflict within often yields determines whether or not Venom's actions are going to end up being altruistic, human, or they're going to end up being driven by the symbiote. Who, survival is his key goal, violent survival at that. So that's a great example of that constant struggle within.
Right. Actually, because like I said, I got all. Could I get the image as a print? Yeah, you can.
Awesome. Very good. Who do we got there? Who's asking Brian would like to have an image. Was that the battle image, Brian? Let us know in the chat. If that's the battle image, we can send you over again. Go on over on Facebook to, at Change19. That is Change19, Facebook.com/Change19. That is the Breaking Chains Facebook page, where you can find Daniel and you can make arrangements to maybe get a print of that. That'd make an awesome poster, man. That just is epic.
I'll actually also be when you get the book in hand print and on digital, there's going to be there's going to be a cover of the second book, the cover on the back of for the second book, and there's going to be a poster, a pinup.
Ooh.
And like inside.
I always used to love that when I was a kid. Remember how comics used to do that on the back page or somewhere in the middle there? They had that fold out, that pin up artwork, whether it was a big picture of Superman or it was a big picture of a battle scene or whatever. Those were always my favorites because I used to save those.
Right, because like I always wanted people to see. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that, but I thought about it like this. You seen how magazines used to do that? Yeah. Where like you open up the magazine and the poster falls out. Well, I was thinking, okay, if people going to buy it in hand or print or digital, why not give them more for the buck? Why not give them a poster and either pin up or poster? I mean, basically, we both get what we want, and I get my profit. They get what they want.
That's awesome.
Their poster. I want to basically give people something to want to come back for more. Yeah. And I want to make people feel like they are part of Breaking Teams Comics, the family, because not only are my fans or they're my supporters, they're also my family. It is. This is the wonderful thing about the creative community is the support and the community that builds around what you're doing. We couldn't do what we do at the Hanging With Web Show without fantastic people like Brian Wensloff, who's in the chat, Terry McIver, who's been in the chat. Some fantastic people. Speaking of which, we want to give a shout out real quick to some other folks that can't be with us today, but because they're out working creatively around the world, we want to give a special shout out to our great friend artist Josh Bauer at J Bauer Art. Josh provides us with art for our set when we're traveling around the country. We've got some great Bauer pieces here. This piece was just given to us. You can find this on our set. This is a Josh Bauer original of the Kitchen Killers logo, which brings us to our next shout out. How's that? That's a nice transition. We want to shout out our friends, Billy Floyd and the Commodore, the Kitchen Killers, a touring acoustical musical duo crashing kitchens around the country. As Billy used to say, nay, the world. These guys perform a free concert in your kitchen. And if you don't want to cook, they'll bring someone to cook. They'll bring the great mad scientist, our good friend Dennis Cutter, the mad scientist, to do some cooking for you. And Josh Bauer will come over and paint a pretty picture in the background while they do it. It's cool. You can catch us up the road with the Kitchen Killers at Space Coast Comic-Con coming up in just a little while. I'm going to hand that back off screen again. Thank you, Josh Bauer, for being a great artist in resident for us. Thank you to the Kitchen Killers for being so supportive of our community. We want to also thank our great friends at Hearts Helping Others of Central Florida. These are people and families helping other families in Central Florida. They're based in Orlando. They are kicking off a toy drive for Christmas already. And they're focusing heavily on toys and things for older children, teens and tweens, or and that kind of age group. As we know, there are a lot of organizations out there that are doing great jobs providing for our smaller children. But you know what? Our teens and our tweens, they have wishes and desires and Christmas wishes too. So the folks over at Hearts Helping Others of Central Florida are helping us to spread the word and help those kids too. We want to thank Brian Wensloff here in the chat room, and we want to thank our good friend Nicole Jobin over at Comics in the Classroom. Daniel, we want to let you know about these guys. When you are online, check these guys out. Comics in the Classroom is a program kicked off by Nicole Jobin, a teacher here in Florida, who started off just bringing comics into her classroom to help her reluctant readers, people who weren't really good readers and didn't want to be necessarily, they weren't into what we know of as the big great literature, and a lot of that was because they didn't get it, and there's a lot of words, and so Nicole went back to basics and said, how do we learn to read? We learn to read with pictures. All and right. So if we're going to get these kids to want to continue to read, we'll do it with pictures. And so she brought Comics in the Classroom and started talking about some really intense stuff
with her classes and starting to really share the messages and truths of literature with her classroom through comics. So it's a great program, Comics in the Classroom. Brian, if you'd be so kind as to drop that link into the chat thread so people can click on it and so Daniel can click on it after the show. And she's always looking for great comics to share with her kids in classrooms.
I have something else to say.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Go.
Well, actually, I'm actually working on maybe, just maybe, you know, if I can get it out in time, I would like to basically, do some more merchandise, like t-shirts and stuff like that.
Awesome.
What I want to do is, what I'm going to actually be doing for this great, establishment, I would like to give you and your staff, free t-shirts and
thank you.
comics.
Thank you and bless you. We love it. We do. And we'll make sure that we not only enjoy the comics because we enjoy those things around here, but that we get them to the folks that will enjoy them the most too as we travel the country. And thank you very much. You know, we've been online for the last about 50 minutes now. We're wrapping up the hour. We've been online with KingDaniel Taylor. That's how you can find him on Facebook. Daniel Taylor is the creator of JarHead. Let me see that cover real quick again. That's the original cover for JarHead. You can find JarHead coming out real soon. You can find him over at Breaking Chains Comics. That's facebook.com/chains19. And stay up to date on what's going on with JarHead, man, because the first issue is in production now. We know that Daniel is working hard to put the second version together. And he's got some other ideas. You got some Breaking Chains is going to get big. It's going to get huge because Daniel's got other ideas. He's got his idea for Smoke coming up, and he's got some other great ideas coming down here. So this is not your one-hit wonder, guys. This guy is here to stay. You know that's true because KingDaniel. Do the math, man. When you call yourself king, you got to be around for a while. Jen Hogan is in the house. Hello, Jen Hogan. Thank you for coming by. Hi to you, too. Jen Hogan is a phenomenal promoter online, man. She promotes so much of our community. Our great friends at Kitchen Killers, Josh Bauer, Jay Bauer Art, the Hangin' with Web show, and our indie music spotlight. So many of our musicians and creators. Terry McIver, again, is also here. Terry's got to run. Bye, Terry. Thanks for coming by. Check up on JarHead for sure. We love it, man. That's right. All the best comics with the comics. All the best with the comics, Daniel. Terry wanted to wish you all the best, Daniel, and tell you to keep it up. And so we've been hanging out with KingDaniel Taylor here on the Hangin' with Web show live on Facebook Saturday. Again, we're going to do this. I think we're going to try to do this every single Saturday, except for the ones that we don't do.
Actually, I wanted to. Sorry about that.
No, please.
I want to get as much as I can out here. I want to give a few shout outs to a couple of people. To my mom and dad, thank you. To my team, man, we about to hit this thing rolling. We about to get ready. JarHead's coming out September next month. We're also, I plan on putting together a tour, an all-star tour where guys can collaborate with us, and actually we can all basically do a whole book together, and we all can bring our worlds together and basically tear up the place.
That is awesome. That is absolutely fantastic, man. Guys, get on over to facebook.com/chains19. Did I get that right? Chains19. It's down there. It's right down there. See that? Right there. Chains19, follow Daniel's journey. That's going to be awesome. Like a collaborative all-star tour where you can get together with different creators all around. That's going to be amazing. We want to thank everybody for being on the show and hanging out with us today. People have been coming in and out of the chat room. That is fantastic. Again, this is something new for us. We don't do a lot of live stuff. But we're going to be doing this more every Saturday. And Daniel kicked us off, man, because Daniel had something to share and a message to share with you guys. And we wanted to make sure that we could help share that. So, all All right, Daniel. So let's talk about real quick. Let's wrap it up because we're coming up on the last, say, 8 minutes of the show. So we were doing some shout outs. How about your art team, man? Let's give some shout outs to your art team.
Well, to my scriptwriter Bill, he's the big guy, the veteran of the team. You know, he's cool. He's real cool. Gives me advice on a lot of things. Brian, he's the guy that's the Philippines, and he's the awesome guy, the awesome colors. Leo, he is the awesome writer, not writer. He's the awesome artist of the team. He does most of my pinups. And Jake Goodman, he is one of the best cover artists I've ever worked with. And you know, to the future creative team that I will be working on with Smoke, get ready because we coming.
Awesome. That is fantastic. Guys, we are the Hangin' With Web Show. I'm GW Pomichter, pushing all the buttons, making all the things happening behind the scenes. We have Sage Ia, and of course we couldn't do anything that we do with our own Dina Marie, who today is off finding new and exciting ways for us to pay the bills. So, that's our team here in the back. We want to thank Terry McIver for being in the chat. Jen Hogan, thank you so much, for being in the chat. All of our visitors who came in to see Daniel from his hometown of Camden, New Jersey. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. That's right. Guys, if you come in from Camden, New Jersey, thank you for being here with us. Thank you, KingDaniel Taylor, for coming in and hanging out with us for a little while. Again, guys, Saturdays at noon, you can catch us here on Facebook Live. Saturdays at noon, the Hangin' With Web Show live on Facebook. In the meantime, you guys can catch us every single weekday at 2 p.m. on YouTube.com. You can check out the Hangin' With Web Show's daily interview episodes with artists, authors, filmmakers, musicians, creative minds of all kinds. You can catch every Thursday night at 7 p.m. on Krypton Radio. You can catch the Hangin' With Web Show Radio Hour, which is a deep dive into pop culture. We talk about topics. We talk about what's happening, what's new, the news, literature, monsters, mayhem, and anything else we can think of on Krypton Radio at Thursdays at 7 p.m. You can also catch those on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker.com, and all the podcast places that are out there. You can also catch the Hangin' With Web Show Indie Music Spotlight. That's our chance every week. We do that at Thursdays at 6 p.m. for 1 hour. We get to highlight the work of independent musicians, and we get to do that by sharing their music. So every single Thursday at 6 p.m., we launch a 1 hour show dedicated to sharing independent music with you. We've got some artists from around the world, Australia, Germany, Canada, all across the U.S. You name it, there's music there from everywhere. So check us out there. Check out all this stuff at hanginwithshow.com. That's hanginwithshow.com, HANGIN show.com. Damn, I couldn't even do it. I couldn't do it the way she does it. Sage, take it away. Do that one.
That's HANGIN withshow.com.
That's the one. She does it so much better than I do. So, guys, thank you guys for logging on to Facebook today, for tuning in over at Facebook Live to the Hangin' With Web Show. Thank you very much to KingDaniel Taylor, the creator of JarHead. You can catch him at Breaking Chains Comics. That is Facebook.com/chains19. Breaking Chains Comics. Get those updates, man. He's got JarHead September, right? We're looking at the September launch of JarHead online. Follow him, guys. See what he's up to, and support our independent artist community, man. That's what it's all about here. We've got amazing independent creative artists coming to you from all over the web, all over the world. So be sure to check in with us. I think that's it. Is that it? Is that did we do an hour? Have we done an hour show? Wow. That is fantastic. Daniel, thank you for being with us today and hanging out with us, brother. We really appreciate it. Thank you to your family for giving you up for an hour and letting us hang out with you. You know, guys, we interrupted Saturday noon at Daniel's house. He came out to hang out with us anyway. One more time, guys, I want to remind everybody, go ahead and flash back over to Daniel's screen because I want to remind everybody, this is KingDaniel Taylor. That's Daniel Taylor with Breaking Chains Comics, the creator of JarHead. And you guys can catch that in September. Thank you, Daniel, for being with us. All right. So let's go ahead and wrap it up as we always do, guys. Remember, everybody, log on, tune in, and see who we're hanging with next.